Good day everyone, I'm Christian Dave Bernal Bahian, an English student. So today I am going to advocate about the guidelines in preparing and choosing instructional materials according to Albarico et al. 2014. Did you remember the first time or your teacher gave you a report? The very common things that you might prepare is instructional materials like visual aids and so on and so forth. According to Albarico et al. 2014, instructional materials give a true picture of a subject or the idea presented. So when you are preparing instructional materials, it must be realistic according to the subject or according to the idea that you will be presented to your students. For instance, your teacher or you want to portray a carabao or something like animals, so your instructional materials as shown is realistic. It must not like behind what is reality, so it must be realistic. Aside from that, instructional materials help the teacher to achieve instructional objectives. So we have different instructional objectives according to the teacher. So maybe from affective, from cognitive. So the teachers have different objectives. So by the use of instructional materials, by the help of instructional materials, the teacher will achieve the instructional objectives. Aside from that, the instructional materials is appropriate for the age, intelligence, and experience of the learners. When your learners or when your student agers, then your instructional materials will suit or fit to their age. And if your student is children or a pupil, then let your instructional materials be creative for them to listen. Every student or each student has different level of intelligence. Let your instructional materials be appropriate to the level of their intelligence. Use simplified instructional materials that are easy to understand, readable, and very comprehensive. Lastly, instructional materials worth the time to expense and effort involved. This simply means that instructional materials needs your time and needs your effort for you to develop a good quality of instructional materials. Instructional materials needs a lot of time and needs a lot of efforts, needs a lot of time for you to think, for you to ponder what are those ideas that you need to include in your instructional materials. Aside from that, effort is also useful for you to write all your ideas and to publish it in your instructional materials. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have learned something from my advocacy about the guidelines in preparing and choosing instructional materials cited by Albarico et al. 2014.